Everybody, this is Adrian. I taught the Intro to Rope Dart 2, the sequeling, which sort of carried off from where Rope Dart 1 left off, and focused on a couple of other aspects. First thing that I taught was sort of an understanding of where your planes are and how to negotiate between them. Right now I'm in a forward right side wheel plane. I say it's a forward plane because if the dart head were to hit me in the head, it would send my head forward, versus a reverse plane, which would send my head backwards. So if you're ever uncertain of whether or not you're going forward or backwards, just hit yourself in the head and you'll be fine. Useful with fire. So if I'm doing a a right side forward wheel plane and I want to get into a wall plane, I asked people to do that and they sort of went blah 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 blah, which is fine. Or if I'm doing a right side forward wheel plane, I could rotate to my right, and now I'm in a wall plane. This is hugely useful for things like empty knots. So instead of doing sort of an ungraceful flop, you can just rotate your body into whatever plane you need to be. So I had people practice just sort of spinning and rotating and turning their body with the dart. So the entire time the dart plane is basically facing you, pointing at the camera, but my body is turning, which is also really useful when you first enter the burn field. In the first few seconds of your burn, whatever, and when you want to find your spot or you want to let a little bit of fuel burn off so you're less likely to set yourself on fire with an early trick, instead of just sitting there being like doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, you can do pretty turns and flourishes, which are not at all difficult, but they're more pretty than a figure eight or just standing there doing single beats. From there, because I really like to work on footwork, I went over the three basic types of kicks. First basic type of kick is a stall kick. And a stall is any time where the dart head reaches a moment of zero velocity or momentum or whatever that physics thing is. Stall, whatever. And here, you're doing a stall kick. What you're doing is your foot is going to receive the impact and absorb the impact of the dart's motion. So you see my foot is recoiling to absorb it, and then I can push, and it comes out. What's really cool about this is I can push off in any direction. Once it hits the point of zero momentum, velocity, whatever, I can even shoot out behind me, which gives me a lot of flexibility, and I can use the inside of my foot here, or I can use the outside of my foot, like that. There's a lot of flexibility, and most tricks that involve some sort of a setup and then a kick require you to do a stall kick. The main one of this is serpent wraps pillar, which goes under the right leg, if you're right-handed. You can do it reverse with the left leg, but it's a little more tricky. Then your left foot reaches back, you stall on your ankle. You notice that my foot is sort of pulling back a little bit to absorb the impact, and then you kick out. Now what's really cool about this trick is if I'm surrounded by a circle of people and there's a drunkard behind me being an asshole, I can catch, turn, and kick the beer can out of his hand or whatever. Once you hit the stall, once you've stalled, you can rotate in any direction you want, assuming you get there fast enough while the dart head is basically static. So that's the first kind of kick, the stall kick. And to practice this, to practice balance and the sort of knowing where knowing the timing of this, I did a lot of this, standing out on the street and stalling back and forth. And you really want to aim for basically where your chain would be on a fire head, basically the 6 inches or so right above the head. And if you hit too high, you're likely to foot wrap, and then you're burning your foot, which sucks. Or if you do it too low, your foot hits the fireball, which burns your foot and sucks. So, and you can do this with the right foot, left foot, back and forth. Really useful to practice. And it's great for just general balance. Second type of kick is bird kicks branch, or the flick kick, which is that. For this, you want the dart head to basically do a 3/4 rotation around your foot. And what I'll do for this is I'll point the sole of my foot at the target and let it wrap around. And as the dart head is coming to this point right here, I will push my foot and point my toe at my target, which causes it to naturally slip right off. So I'm going to do it again. And you can tell I'm hitting much higher on the rope than I was on the flick kick, because I do in fact want the dart to do a full rotation around my foot, or I guess a 3/4 rotation. And at a certain point, I suggest you stand out in the street one day and just practice rapid kicks. Because it looks totally badass when you can do it. You can do it with the inside of your foot like that. You can do it with the outside of your foot. Useful to practice from all directions. This is much harder to shoot in an off direction. By an off direction, I mean any direction other than you're facing. Stall kicks are really easy to do some sort of random change of direction. Bird kicks branch, much more difficult, but it is possible. Just not nearly the same range of motion. Last trick is the reverse bird kicks branch, or as we call it, the branch kicks bird. You're doing, let's see, stall kick and bird kicks branch. You're doing a forward right side wheel plane, or forward left side wheel plane. For this, you're doing a reverse wheel plane. You're going to clip under your foot, which is going to reach back, and it's basically going to do a full loop around your foot, and then you kick your leg forward and point your toe, and it slips right off. So, in full speed, reach back, and kick out. The faster you do it, the better it works, and this is generally, people find this a lot easier than bird kicks branch. Tricks are, if your knee is stiff, it's going to be a lot harder to generally find your place and move. So a little bit bent knee here. Your right leg sort of reaches back and grabs it and kicks out. And I generally try to get the rope to land in the ridge between my toe and the rest of the foot. That's a really nice place for it to collect, and it slips off really easily. After that, we did knee kicks, which are that. And I discussed how the accuracy of it is greatly determined by the angle that your heel to knee is at. So if the angle of my heel to knee is facing fairly vertically like so, the dart's going to sort of pop up. But if it's fairly parallel to the ground, try that again, it's going to shoot much more towards your target's chest. Jeans are bad because they've got all this stuff that the dart can snag on. You want to have your heel into your butt. If your heel isn't into your butt, the rope dart is just going to wrap around your leg. And what you want to do is, again, be kind of low. And your heel is in your butt, and you're driving your leg through the motion. There it is. And so you're really just pushing through, and the dart is going to naturally just slip off your knee like you can see here. It starts to wrap, and then reaches the point where it can't anymore. Next thing we did was elbow wraps, which are these. Is that all in frame?
Yep.
Cool. So it wraps around the elbow a couple of times. If you get too close to your elbow, even here is pretty damn close, it's going to be hard, and by this close to your elbow I mean the head being this close to your elbow. It's really hard to release, and if the dart head hits your elbow, actually, it's just going to fall flat and dead, so you want to prevent that. So you want to do as many wraps as it takes for the dart to be not terribly more. Yeah, this is pretty close right here. I wouldn't go that close. So you do a wrap or two, and then you want to rotate to your right if you're right-handed, and sort of punch in the direction that you want the dart to go, and it'll just slip off. So it's rotate to the right and sort of punch out to the right behind you. The release point is when the dart is at about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock-ish, for it to be heading in a pretty straight line. If you do it too early, then it's going to plop at the ground, and if you do it too late, when it's closer to 3 o'clock, it's going to go pretty much up. If you're doing this elbow wrap, and right now I'm still in a forward right side plane, you can also do it a forward shot, which is a bit more difficult. And if you want to do a forward shot on the underswing, by underswing I mean now it's coming up, you can do it like that. And coming out of elbow wraps, I taught the Overlord Trick, which segues into my advanced class on variations of the Overlord. And the Overlord Trick is a behind the back pendulum, lands on the right elbow, lands on the left elbow, turn, elbow shot out. And then from there we did rope dart tag, which there's video of. And we were basically just chasing each other, pegging each other with rope darts, and it was awesome and you should play.